You have, haven't you? Found yourself at a crossroads, a point of exquisite confusion, where the path forward is shrouded in fog. And in that moment of vulnerability, you did what you were taught to do. You reached out. You sought counsel. You asked for advice. You presented your intricate, delicate, and utterly unique situation to a friend, a mentor, a parent, an expert, and you waited for the map, the key, the one sentence that would make it all clear. And what did you receive? You received a platitude, a well-intentioned but hollow cliché. You heard, "Just follow your heart," or "You have to be strong," or perhaps one of those dreadful 7-step plans to a better life, torn from a magazine in a waiting room. And as the words hung in the air, a peculiar kind of loneliness settled upon you. A loneliness far deeper than simply being lost. It was the loneliness of being profoundly misunderstood. The feeling that you had shown them a universe of swirling galaxies within you, and they had handed you a cheap plastic compass that only pointed north. You may have even consulted 34 different people. You went from one oracle to the next, collecting their little pearls of wisdom, and at the end of it all, you were not richer, but poorer. You were buried under a mountain of contradictory suggestions, each one a dead-end street. You began to think the fault was yours, that perhaps your problem was too complicated, too strange, that you were somehow unfixable, a puzzle with missing pieces. But what if I were to tell you that this frustration, this deep and aching disappointment with the very concept of advice, is not a sign that you are broken? What if it is the first, faint, unmistakable signal that you are beginning to wake up? What if the wisest people you know, the ones who seem to possess a quiet gravity, are the very ones who offer you nothing but their silent presence? And what if that silence is not an absence of help, but the most profound and respectful help you could ever receive? Because they understand the secret you are just now beginning to uncover. The greatest wisdom is never given, it is only ever allowed to unfold. You see, our society is built upon a frantic, noisy marketplace of answers. It is a grand bazaar of certainty. Everyone is a vendor, selling prepackaged solutions to the deep mysteries of being human. They sell you career paths, relationship rules, spiritual doctrines, and 10-point manifestos for happiness. It is a game, a marvelous and intricate game where the goal is to appear as though you have it all figured out. The currency of this game is advice. Giving advice makes one feel powerful, knowledgeable, and useful. Receiving advice, or at least appearing to, shows that one is humble, willing to learn, and playing by the rules. This entire structure is predicated on one colossal illusion: that there are universal answers to individual questions. That your life is a standardized test with a multiple-choice answer sheet: A, B, C, or D. And if you just find the right person with the answer key, you can fill in the bubbles and pass the test. But you have started to feel the edges of the page. You've noticed the questions on the test don't quite match the questions in your soul. You were looking at question 34, and none of the available answers seem to apply. Your frustration is the completely sane and natural reaction of a living, breathing consciousness to a dead, mechanical system. Your exhaustion does not stem from your inability to find the right answer. It comes from the monumental, soul-crushing effort of trying to pretend that the test itself makes any sense at all. The people who are still deeply asleep within this game, they love advice. It soothes them. It reinforces the comforting belief that reality is a simple, solvable problem. They trade these little packets of certainty back and forth like baseball cards, never questioning their value. They tell you to think positive when you are drowning in a sea of legitimate sorrow. They tell you to work harder when your very spirit is crying out for rest. They are not malicious. They are simply reciting the script they were given. They are stage actors, performing their roles so convincingly that they have forgotten they are on a stage. Your pain arises from the fact that you have, for a moment, peeked behind the curtain. You have seen the ropes and the pulleys, you have heard the director whispering the lines, and you can no longer unsee it. You can no longer pretend that the painted backdrop is a real sunset. And so, when someone delivers a line from the script to you, a piece of well-worn advice, it doesn't sound like wisdom, it sounds like a line. And your inability to accept it is not a flaw in your character, it is a testament to your clarity. You are not rejecting help, you are rejecting illusion. This is the turning point. This is where the real journey begins. Because now we must perform the great act of reframing. We must take what you have labeled as your greatest weaknesses, your confusion, your solitude, your inability to just be happy with the answers provided, and we must look at them again under a different light. We must see them not as liabilities, but as emerging superpowers. Let us first consider your feeling of being hopelessly unique. That your problems are so specific that no one could possibly understand. The game of advice operates on categories. It puts you in a box. Person with career anxiety. Person with relationship trouble. It then offers the solution for that box. But you have sensed that you are not a category. You are a cosmos. Your present dilemma is not an isolated event. It is connected to your childhood, to the way your mother smiled, to a book you read when you were 16, to a dream you had last Tuesday, to the unspoken grief you carry for a world that seems to have lost its way. It is an inseparable part of the entire, seamless fabric of your existence. The wise person understands this. They know that to give you advice would be an act of profound arrogance. It would be like a botanist telling an ancient, mysterious forest how to grow. How could they possibly know the intricate network of roots beneath the soil? How could they understand the secret language of the mycelial network, the history of every fallen leaf, the exact angle at which the sun nourishes a particular branch? To offer advice would be to ignore 99% of the reality. So instead of offering a plan, they offer their quiet awe. Their silence is a recognition of your complexity. It is a way of saying, I see you. I see the whole forest, and I trust its ancient wisdom. When you feel that no one gets it, you are not being difficult. You are simply becoming aware of your own depth. You have outgrown the boxes. Now, let us look at your inability to simply take a suggestion and act on it. You hesitate, you doubt, you overthink. Society calls this indecision or paralysis. But what if it is something else entirely? What if it is the birth of inner authority? For years you were trained to look outside yourself for the map. The teacher, the parent, the boss, the guru, they were the cartographers of your life. Your job was simply to follow their directions. But your soul has grown tired of borrowed maps. It wants to learn to read the stars for itself. This hesitation you feel is a sacred pause. It is the moment where the external voice of authority grows faint, and a much, much quieter voice from deep within begins to stir. You are hesitating because for the first time, you are listening to that inner voice, and it is often a confusing voice. It does not speak in clear commands or five-step plans. It speaks in feelings, in gut instincts, in the language of dreams and symbols. It is the subtle pull of intuition. The reason you can no longer follow external advice is that it so often clashes with this nascent inner knowing. You are in the process of calibrating your own internal compass. This is not indecision. This is the delicate, painstaking work of a master craftsman learning a new and subtle tool. The wise person knows this. They will not interfere with this sacred process by shouting directions at you. They will not disturb the silence you need to hear your own truth. Their refusal to give advice is a vote of confidence in your ability to find your own way. They are honoring the guide that is being born within you. Consider, too, the profound exhaustion you feel when you are around people who live by the script. The small talk, the predictable opinions, the constant jostling for status and validation. It drains you. You might have called yourself antisocial or too sensitive. But let's reframe this. You are not antisocial, you are anti-superficial. You are not too sensitive, you have developed an allergy to falsity. Think of it like this. If you have lived your whole life drinking slightly polluted water, you get used to it. It's normal. But the moment you taste pure, clean spring water, your body knows the difference. You can never go back. To drink the polluted water again would feel like poison. Your soul has tasted a moment of authenticity, perhaps in a moment of quiet solitude, in connection with nature, or in the presence of a true piece of art. And now it can no longer tolerate the polluted waters of social pretense. The exhaustion you feel is your spirit's rebellion against the inauthentic. It is a sign of a healthy organism rejecting what is not nourishing. The wise ones recognize this. They see that you are thirsty for the real, and they know that the chatter of advice and social games is just more polluted water. Their silence is an invitation to drink from a deeper well. And what of the very nature of problems themselves? The advice-giving game assumes that a problem is a mistake, an anomaly to be corrected. You are sad. That is wrong. Here is how to be happy. You are confused. That is a flaw. Here is the path to clarity. But the awakened perspective understands that what we call problems are not mistakes. They are the curriculum. They are the raw material of our becoming. Your confusion is not a barrier to your path. It is the path. Your sorrow is not an obstacle to joy. It is the fertile ground in which true joy can grow. Imagine a seed. If the seed were given advice, it might be told to stay safe and comfortable in its packet. But its true nature, its destiny, is to be planted in the dark, cold earth. It must break itself apart. It must be completely undone in the darkness. This process of annihilation is not a problem for the seed. It is the necessary process through which it becomes the oak tree. The wise person sees that you are a seed in the midst of this sacred breaking. They know that your pain, your doubt, your darkness, these are not things to be fixed or avoided. They are the very alchemy of your transformation. To offer you advice on how to escape the darkness would be to rob you of your own becoming. It would be like telling the caterpillar to avoid the cocoon. Their silence is not neglect, it is reverence. It is a profound trust in the intelligence of the universe, which is working its magic through you, in the dark, where no words can reach. So you see, your entire experience of feeling wrong has been a misinterpretation. Your inability to fit into the world's neat little boxes is not a failure. It is the emergence of your true shape. Your loneliness in a crowd is not a sign of alienation. It is a sign that your soul is seeking its true tribe, or perhaps the profound companionship of itself. Your frustration with easy answers is not a sign of being difficult. It is a sign that your questions have become deep, real, and worthy of a life's exploration. And this leads to a new kind of existence, one where you stop asking the world for a map and you start to draw your own. You learn to navigate by the light of your own constellation. The frantic need for external validation begins to dissolve, and in its place, a quiet, unshakable self-possession takes root. You will notice that the wisest people don't deal in the currency of advice, but in the currency of presence. They will not tell you what to do, but they will sit with you in your confusion. They will listen not with the intent to reply, but with the intent to understand. They will ask you questions, not to test you, but to help you uncover your own answers. Questions like, what does this confusion feel like in your body? Or, what is this situation asking you to let go of? They are not giving you a fish. They are reminding you that you have known how to fish all along. They hold up a mirror, not a manual. This path is not an easy one. There is a certain solitude in it. When you stop playing the game of advice, you step off the main playing field. The chatter and the camaraderie of the game will fade into the distance. You will be accused of being aloof, or strange, or arrogant. You will have to learn to be your own authority, your own comfort, your own guide. It is the hero's journey, and it is, by its very nature, a path one often walks alone for a time. But it is not the empty loneliness of isolation. It is the rich, vibrant solitude of sovereignty. It is the silence of the mountain peak, which is not empty, but full of the sky. So the next time you feel that ache of being lost and misunderstood, the next time a piece of generic advice feels like sandpaper on your soul, do not despair. Do not conclude that you are the one who is broken. Take a deep breath and recognize the feeling for what it is. It is the stirring of wisdom. It is the pain of a new birth. The shell of your old, prescribed self is cracking, and a truer, wilder self is beginning to emerge. Don't run from the confusion. Don't try to anesthetize the discomfort with a quick fix or another opinion. Turn towards it. Sit with it. Let the question burn within you. The question is alive. An answer is a dead thing, a fossil. But a question is a living, breathing entity that will guide you, if you let it, into the vast, uncharted territory of your own truth. You are not lost. You are finally, for the very first time, off the map. And that is where the real adventure begins.